YTBC, what's the deal? Now we know that David Haye is trying to position himself for Anthony Joshua's showdown. He's been kind of micromanaging Anthony Joshua's career via through the media. You know what I mean? Always saying what, who Joshua should and shouldn't fight, and he shouldn't take anybody of risks because then that would, make their fight lackluster because it will have a loss, so on and so forth. And we heard directly after the Anthony Joshua Dillian Whyte fight at the post-fight press conference, you heard Anthony Joshua himself say he wanted a Dillian Whyte rematch. So there was an article that came out today on Boxing Scene. I'm gonna leave the article in the description. It says, I hope Joshua wins, then we rematch for a world title. This is Dillian Whyte. Okay, I'm gonna read a quote from it, then I'm gonna speak on this. He says, the rematch is something I want with or without a world title. If it's with the world title, that would be massive, especially as he went from our fight straight to a world title fight. Then we could have the rematch in the next 12 to 18 months. I proved I'm a world class and I'm more than capable of winning a world title when the time comes. It'd be great if he won and we can get it on. A rematch would be a mega fight for a world title. Yeah, it'd be a good domestic fight for a world title. Well, I won't just say just domestic, but I know it have domestic success. But I would certainly watch the fight. You know what I mean? But what I'm thinking is, let's have David Haye versus Dillian Whyte. I mean, just because we know that, or I believe that if Joshua happens to win this title, they're not going to throw him in there with just, right off the bat, the mandatory. No, they're going to get him some solid fights, but stay busy fights, but nothing downhill. Nothing downhill. I don't see them bringing in, Travis Walker to defend his title. I think they'll put him in there with another tough opponent, probably somebody that isn't a top, the mandatory, but somebody that's a tough opponent. And I think that, Dillian Whyte will be a winnable fight for Joshua, a tough opponent. I think he'll win that fight again. But David Haye just wants to ease into a big money fight. Now, David Haye's about his business. Not for 1 minute do I believe David Haye is sticking around for 5, 6, 7, 8 years. He's not doing that. He's trying to rake in the big money fights and then call it a career, which is fine. He's 36, multi-division champion. I'll give David Haye credit for that. But a lot of people have a bad taste in their mouth from the pulling out against fights with Fury and the Vladimir Klitschko debacle with showing his toe on national or worldwide television rather, showing us how his toe is. Like, who gives a fuck about your toe, man? Like, I don't know. But anyways, a lot of people still have that burned into their memory, so they don't really want to see David Haye in any title shots. But as far as excitement, yes, he did beat Mark Demore, although he got hit with, these are punches that I counted, one punch landed on David Haye's glove in that fight. So, he was off for 4 years. He did look good against Chisora before he took his time off the injury or whatever. And to me, he's still been off. That Demore fight proved nothing. So, yes, he did go through a training camp. But to me, he's been training since at least last summer because that's when the rumors were coming out that he was going to come back. So he's been training. So the Demore fight was pretty much nothing. To me, that really didn't. It proved that David Haye can, he still has power. He blitzed Demore, but I don't think he should get a title shot or a big money fight. Well, I'm not going to say he shouldn't get a big money fight. If he positions himself and talks his way into the fight, then more power to him. But I think he should at least have to fight Dillian Whyte. If they're going to make the job, I think that makes sense. It's a winnable fight for Haye. It's a fight that I think Dillian Whyte would take for the money, and I think it'd be a good domestic fight. And on the world level, it'd be a good fight. I will certainly watch the fight and cover the fight. So if, Whyte is planning on fighting David Haye before he makes his mandatory defense, or if he really wants to fight Whyte, I think they should fight. But then again, I'm speaking as if Anthony Joshua is the champion. I'm just talking about if he happens to win the championship. So this is an if video. This video may not mean nothing after the Martin and Joshua fight. But if he happens to win, I think that I think even before his fight is coming up, man, I think Haye and Whyte should be negotiating a fight. But David Haye, I don't know. I really don't think he's trying to fight anybody dangerous. He's trying to fight somebody that may be highly ranked, but somebody who he would be favored against, and he feel comfortable going in there to fight. Um, but who knows? Shit, maybe because he feels comfortable fighting Joshua. You can just tell by just what he says in the interviews and how inexperienced Joshua is, and Haye's banking on his experience to beat Joshua. Especially during this calendar year. So. But I think Haye should at least get in there with somebody's going to fight him back to see, to see what he has too. I mean, we haven't really seen him in a competitive fight since 2012 when he actually got hit with a punch. Just my thoughts on this. Again, Joshua has to win the championship first, but I guess I'm just trying to kind of forecast in here. But just my thoughts on this. YTBC, I'm out.